Hello, my name is John Burris. Thank you for joining me today for this short video called The Benefits of Practicing Yoga for Your Life. In this video, I'll be sharing with you why yoga is such a great idea and the many benefits you will receive by being a regular practitioner and enjoying all these great benefits. And I'll be taking you into detail about the anatomy of a yoga and what's actually happening to your body and how it's transforming you and how it can be a great health and wellness practice if you practice regularly. Now, it doesn't work so well if you just do yoga on a whim when you're once a year in Hawaii to be cool, but you've got to be regular, you've got to be committed, and you have to be focused, and there's amazing benefits you will enjoy. So let me recap some of my background. My first 30 to 35 years of my life, I was a sport guy. I was the athlete, played football, basketball, baseball, tennis, racquetball, cycled, swam, aerobics classes, spinning classes, all that. And I lifted weights 5 days a week, and I ran, and I hiked, and I backpacked, and I hardened my body and said, okay, the road to dynamic health, because I was told that by the trainers and the medical doctors, and all the media said, get strong, get hard, harden your body. And you know what? It broke me down. And by the time I was 25, I could barely walk. My hips hurt, my back hurt, my knees hurt. I had pinched nerves in my neck and shoulder. I had 30 years of sciatica and back pain. But I kept doing all the crazy stuff I was told to do, strengthen my core and do my push-ups, my pull-ups, my bench presses, and I was a wreck. And I see that every day in my practice as a body worker and yoga therapist, and I see that in people walking down the street who can't even walk because they went this route of sport and athleticism and injuries, and people don't realize that an athlete's a warrior, and that warrior body's broken down. So for me, what I did, I made a dramatic change around age 30, 35, and today at 65 years old, I'm pain-free. I've got great strength, incredible flexibility, incredible energy because I changed directions. I don't know many 65-year-olds who are pain-free. Everybody's on medication somehow, or they can't get out of bed in the morning, or they're regular visits to the emergency room or doctor to get their pain pills. So that's what I want to share with you today is there is a better way, and most of our culture is going in the wrong direction. We're taught by the wrong people to do the wrong things. So if you want a dynamic, lively body as you age, these are some of the principles that I've found important and why yoga is such a great dynamic way to stay in health, in shape, and in basically all overall wellness. Now, there isn't one yoga. The yoga is a large word for many things. Part of yoga, there's meditation, and then there's focus, and there's breathing, and there's asanas, which are postures. And in the asana practice, there's many different styles and shapes. There's Bikram Hat yoga, and there's Iyengar and flow yoga and Ashtanga yoga. So there's many different styles to choose from. So it's not just one thing. So you have to find that one thing that works for you for where you're at. And in my practice, I've kind of been eclectic. I've gone from one style to another and added them like a toolbox. And I didn't just stick with one style. I've been blending them in, and they all teach me something different. And I use that as a giant toolbox for wellness. But overall, there's amazing benefits of yoga as opposed to the gym workout. Once again, I find, in my experience, my body was dying because of the gym and the fitness workouts, and I was in so much pain every day. I'd be crawling into the emergency room twice a year for pain pills because my sciatica hurt so much. And I was told the wrong things by the medical establishment and my sports trainers what to do. And I didn't fix my back. So by going into the health world, the yoga world, I'm completely pain-free. I haven't seen sciatica in decades now because I cured it not through fitness, but through expansion and other health practices that I'll share with you today. So once again, there's so many benefits to a lifetime of practicing yoga. And you get to choose where you want to be on that continuum of practice. Part of my struggle with the medical world is I'll go in to see my main medical doctor every 2 years, and she'll ask me how much cardiovascular exercise you're getting, how much strength training you're getting every week. And I say, well, probably not that much. I'm doing mostly yoga. And they go, well, you can't be healthy then because you're not doing enough cardio, you're not doing enough strength training. And I laugh inside because they don't know. They don't know. They think that the only way you're going to be healthy is to train your heart and make your body hard like rocks. So that's the metaphor I'm sharing with you today. We have a broken society where even the medical world doesn't understand. They think that yoga is some whimsical thing that old ladies with nothing to do just do on every Thursday afternoon because they've got nothing to do. So for me, the yoga practice became one of my primary health practices, despite the fact that my medical doctor has no clue what it's even doing. So once again, in my 65 years of life here, my dramatic change about 35 years ago into the yoga experience dramatically changed my body. And that's what I want to share with you today, and how there's so many great benefits you can enjoy if you get into the practice and you start to transform. And what was killing me is my gym workouts were killing me, my fitness practice was killing me, my sports injuries from playing all those sports were just wounding me and causing all kinds of disruptions in my body. So the transformations began when I started to embrace the yoga experience. So these are the 14 benefits that I think are important of why a regular yoga practice is really important for not just an older person, but a younger person as well. So here they are. The number one principle here is flexibility. When practicing yoga regularly, you will become more flexible. You know, we have this incredibly ignorant belief that aging causes stiffness, that the more you age, the stiffer you're supposed to become. Well, that's not true at all. Some of the most flexible people I know are older and they do a lot of yoga. Either they're yoga teachers or regular practitioners, and they're incredibly flexible. Basically, our body is a bag of water, and we've turned it into a bag of rocks by our fitness training, by not correcting our injuries, and by stress and sedentary living. So what that happens is your body dries out and it stiffens and it hardens, not because of your calendar days, because you're leading the wrong lifestyle. So flexibility is one of the key components of yoga, and you become more flexible. Your joints move better. You're able to do things more. When you're out gardening, you can bend down, you can mow the lawn, you can wash your car, you can pick up your grocery bags because you've got flexibility without pain. So this incredible benefit, when your body is a bag of water, your joints move and you have this zero pain in your body, and you don't think about having to protect yourself from moving. What happens when you're stiff because you've done the wrong things? Then you're now in protection mode. Oh, I can't bend that far. I can't lift that up because I might throw my back out. Well, that's a level of fear and worry every day in your life because you're not flexible. Most of the athletes I see on television or in person are incredibly inflexible. That's why they break and get injured so much, because the warrior body is hard and tight and dried out, and the fascia tears, where a yoga body is flexible and it bends and it's soft and it bounces. Very seldom have I seen a yoga person get injured. Now, if they do, it's usually a pre-existing condition from their old sporting days. But every day I see athletes tearing a ligament, tearing a tendon, blowing out their back because hard, stiff bodies will break. So the major benefit of yoga is you're flexible and you're bendy. You're like a Gumby, and that's an amazing experience to live with. The second benefit to yoga practice is anti-aging. Well, notice something like this where an older person's doing a back bend. You go, well, how can they do that? They're old. Because a regular yoga practice keeps your body soft and liquid in a watery state rather than a hard state. So you have less aging going on. You're not shrinking and collapsing. You're expanding and liquefying your body. You see, most people were born as a grape and they die as a raisin because they dry out and they shrink and they harden. A lot of it's because they don't pay attention to their fascia. And so when you do that, you age quicker. You lose immunity. You lose vitality. Your joints harden and stiffen. With the yoga practice, you're reversing all that. You're becoming more alive, more focused, more energized. Your breathing is better. Your movement is better. You're moving through life easier. You don't have such pain. So in my experience, yoga is one of the primary anti-aging concepts because you're enlivening your body and you're turning your body from a bag of rocks into a bag of water, and you're reversing the aging process in many ways. It looks, and your skin looks better, your face looks better. You're not in pain. You know, when people are in pain, they're always grimacing on their face. Well, if you're not in pain, you don't have that grimace going on. So yoga is one of the greatest anti-aging tools that I know of, and that's why it's one of the great key benefits. The third benefit is focused breathing. You know, I used to believe when I did all my sports training, I'd run up and down hills and run up and down the street and on the track and on the treadmill and get my cardio going as fast as I can, or get out of my Pilates class or my spinning class or on the rowing machine, and my breath would be so chaotic, and I'd go, wow, I just did all that breathing. Well, that's the breath of death. When you breathe from your upper chest in the sport model, that's the stress breath. It creates stress and cortisol, adrenaline, testosterone. Because you're not really breathing like the body was intended to breathe. Really deep breathing comes from your diaphragm. That's not happening in the sporting world. It comes from your nose, where when you breathe through your nose, you're massaging the first cranial nerve, which goes right to your brain, and it calms your mind, which relaxes your body. So focused breathing is one of the great benefits of the yoga practice, whether it's a class with asanas or postures, or just a yoga breathing class. You're learning to expand the breathing. And when you expand your breathing capacity, you're not just moving oxygen in and out, you're moving chi, life force energy in and out, which is basically the body's battery. So the yoga breathing is so much better, more profound than the fitness breathing. Once again, the fitness breath is upper chest, stressed, chaotic breathing. The yoga breath starts at your diaphragm and through the nose. It's a full circle of not just deeper oxygen, but energy flow, and calms the mind. So when we have a regular yoga practice, we're enhancing our body through deep focused breathing, which does not happen in the fitness world. And the fourth benefit in yoga is strength and tone. And here's a yoga practitioner using her body to build strength. So in the gym, you're using a machine and weights to push around. In the yoga practice, you're using your body as the lever to build strength. And here's another strength building pose from the yoga practice. You're using your body to build strength overall. So when I was in the gym fitness world, I would only believe I needed weight machines and weights and free weights and machines to get strong. And that was my perception. The yoga world changed all that. Before joining the yoga world, I thought yoga was just people wanted a little more flexibility, and I just skinny women doing yoga to be flexible and more stretchy. What I realized, you can be incredibly strong with yoga. Now, there's different types of strength. There's muscular strength, there's energetic strength, and yoga does both. In muscular strength, you're building the myofibrils, the muscle fibers, and you're also lengthening the fascia tissue around those muscle fibers, which creates a flow of energy. So the energy is actually holding you up much of the time as the chi moves through the fascia tissue. So yoga does both. It builds muscle fibers and it creates energetic strength as well. And I realized after decades of practicing yoga, I was stronger than I was than my gym workouts. I also realized there's certain conditions like osteoporosis that can be enhanced with yoga. For example, we're taught to believe by the medical specialists that if somebody has osteoporosis, they need to lift weights and build muscle. Well, I don't believe that, because when you do that, you're hardening and drying out the fascia tissue which surrounds the bone. And now you've got a hard, dried fascia network. And many of the nutrients that travel to the bone to feed the bone go through the fascia network. And if you dry it out, the bone doesn't get nutrients. So I found the yoga experience was a better way to get stronger, to enhance your bones. So that's a contradiction to how the medical world is teaching health and bones. And the fifth principle of yoga is balance. And here's one depiction of how yoga can help create balance in your life. So when I lifted weights at the gym, I never focused on balance. It was something I never thought about. Most people never think about their balance until they lose it. They go, what happened? So balance starts in your feet and ankles and shins and radiates up to your body. And if your feet are off, your ankles are tight, you've got old sprained ankle issues, knee issues, you're sedentary, you've got hard shin splints, you're going to not have good balance. And balance is important, especially as you get older. Most people, as they get older, they fear losing their balance because many people break their hip. And it's common to die afterwards, mostly because of the drugs they give you will cause a experience where you die from that. So what with yoga is you have a greater sense of balance. That's great around the house so you don't trip over your own feet, but it's also when you go out in the world. You're not slipping on icy sidewalks. Or if you do, you learn how to fall more gracefully. So balance is incredibly important, and yoga is one of the great benefits to help you have balance, where you can negotiate upright. And it's not gravity's fault you fall, it's because you have an unstable body, that you haven't practiced balance. So when you practice balance, like anything, you get better at it, and your body remembers that, so in chaotic situations, you don't fall, and you're not going to hurt yourself. So balance is one of the key elements of yoga, and I highly encourage it. Another key benefit of yoga is focus. So I remember all the years I'd go to the gym and I wasn't focused. I was throwing weights around, pushing things back and forth and up and down and getting in and out as quick as I can. There's very little focus. And even I noticed today, there's not a lot of focus in the gym workout. So what yoga does, it creates focus where you're paying attention to your hamstrings, your hips, your back. You maybe have an intention when you set out of why you're there. It could be a physical intention. It could be a spiritual or emotional intention. But you're focused, you're directed inward. Where my gym workouts never directed me inward, it was always an outer experience. So the yoga has helped with focus, gaining your attention on a goal, a direction, and leading life more directive oriented rather than chaotic in life. So focus is one of the key benefits of yoga. Another key benefit of yoga is expansive movement. So in movement, it's all about the direction of intention. When I used to go to the gym and lift weights, it's about hardening, tightening, shortening. I could never bend over and touch my toes. If I did, my back would kill me. I could never get my hands there. I was so stiff and tight. So with yoga, it's an expansive system. There are many types of movement systems that are expansive. Yoga is one of them. It teaches you to elongate. So for example, most yoga people don't shrink when they age because their tissues are expanding. Where the fitness people are shrinking and hardening and they're rolling forward because that's the direction of intention. So with an expansive movement system, your body's elongating. Think about a piece of taffy being stretched, warmed up and stretched every day, warmed up and stretched every day. Where the gym culture teaches you're a bunch of rocks that need to be hardened. You know, that whole mentality of a hardened chest and hardened arms and hardened core. That's a contractive system. Yoga is an expansive system. You're elongating, you're lifting, you're opening. So what I find is this elongation is a very important part of my health journey. And it's a really important part of the yoga journey overall. The next benefit of yoga is just a general health experience. People generally feel better when they practice yoga regularly. So when I speak to fitness people and gym people and athletes, I ask them about their pain level and said, well, I manage it. I've gotten used to it. It's just how things are. And I say, why? Why do you have to live that way? So when I experience yoga people who've done yoga for years and decades, they do, what pain? I don't have any pain. I feel great every day. It's a whole different experience. Why would you want to spend your life managing your pain and getting used to it? But that's what I found in my gym workouts. I was managing my pain. In the yoga world, I don't feel that at all. It's completely free of pain. So overall, it's a whole different general health experience. Things work better. And my body feels better by having a lifetime of yoga practice. I find there's also cosmetic changes when you practice yoga regularly. What I find is regular yoga practitioners have a different glow to them. Their skin is different, their face is different, their eyes are different. They look calmer, more relaxed. You know, when you're under stress, it shows up in your face. When I see workout people who are necks are tight, shoulders rolling forward because all their gym workout is making them tighter, but that cuts off circulation to your neck. But I find the yoga people have a different glow to them. And they're, like I said, they look different. They look more in their bodies and at peace with themselves. Now, this is not just a one-time deal. This takes years or decades to get to this point, but that's my experience with it. The next benefit of yoga is called body self-discovery. So what do I mean by body self-discovery? Well, when you're at the gym, you're trying to put layers of muscle on top of old injuries and old patterns. The yoga experience, you're unpeeling the body. The body's a series of layers and tubes. So for example, here's your body here, here's the center of your body here, and here's the outside of the skin. Well, you might have an injury that goes many, many layers deep, and you practice and you wonder why. And then someday you get to a point you go, wow, that hamstring issue here, it attaches to my calf or my ankle because now I'm practicing at this level, not this level. You can determine which level you're at, which layer you're hitting because you're unwinding the body. So you have this sense of discovery about things. One day you go, wow, my hips don't hurt anymore. Why? Because I released my groin muscles. That doesn't necessarily happen in the fitness world, the gym world. But in the yoga world, you're unpeeling the body's onion and you're finding these layers of holding and all the tissue holding. And you're discovering all these parts of yourself, and there's where the magic begins to happen. The yoga practice is also a metaphor for life. Whatever happens in the yoga room is a metaphor for what happens outside the yoga room. So what do I mean by metaphor for life? Well, for example, when I teach yoga classes, I would bring a student into a place, a position, a location in their body. And I would say something like, okay, when you start feeling uncomfortable, sit with it. What's it feel like? Where does it go? Does it have a color? Does it have a name? Does it have a history to it? And then I would say something like, what do you do in your life when you feel uncomfortable? Do you run away from it? Do you push through it? What does this moment in time teach you about how you deal with conflict? And so in many ways, a yoga practice is a metaphor for life because we can practice working through conflict and changing how we see conflict in our lives by seeing how we see conflict in our bodies. When it's painful, do we avoid it? Do we ignore it? Do we push through it? Oh, I'll do the push through the pain. Or do we slowly embrace it and feel our way through it? So yoga is a great metaphor for life. Whatever happens on the yoga mat will also happen outside on real life. And if you change it in the yoga room, it might just change when you walk out the door. Another important benefit of the yoga practice is the relaxation experience. One of the key principles that I find in all yoga classes is it attempts to engage the relaxation response. What happens in the gym workouts, it increases the stress response, the fight or flight response, the cortisol, the adrenaline, the testosterone. So you may leave the gym feeling pumped up and feeling powerful because your muscles are strong and you just had a strong cardio workout. But essentially your body's in a stress response. Yoga is the complete opposite. The attempt is to create a relaxation response. And how does that do that? First, by focused breathing, which calms the mind, which affects the body, and also diaphragmatic breathing. And also there's places called shavasana where your body lets down and lets go, and you leave a class hopefully in a dreamy state, a relaxation response. So one of the benefits of yoga is trying to keep us in a relaxation response more often, because the rest of the world's going to keep you stressed out. The next benefit of yoga is energy flow. And here's a picture of a yoga practitioner having the energy or chi flow through the fascia tissue through the body. And this is the magic of energy flow in yoga. And here's where the real magic starts to happen in the yoga experience. So the muscle tissue, here we have it. These are the muscle fibers. They're called myofibrils. And surrounding those muscle fibers is the fascia tissue. It's the insulation around them. In the fitness world, you're trying to build more muscle fibers. But what happens is the surrounding fascia, since it's not getting stretched, will begin to harden. And essentially it turns into concrete. So you might have more muscle fibers, but you have concrete, dried out fascia tissue that surrounds it. This is why most muscle people, gym people, will harden, stiffen as they age. So what happens is the chi in the body runs through fascia tissue. Only when the fascia is healthy and liquid, when it starts to dry out, guess what happens? It stops flowing. No more flow. So the yoga experience keeps the fascia liquid and healthy, and so it's able to transport the chi energy through the body. Well, the chi is like the body's battery. That's why most people age, they dry out and become a raisin, and things start going haywire because they're losing energy flow. In the yoga experience, you're not just building muscle fibers, you're lengthening and stretching and warming and liquefying the fascia that surrounds those muscle fibers. And when you do that, you're allowing this flow of magical chi energy to flow through your body. So one of the major benefits is energy flow with yoga. Once again, it's the exact opposite in the fitness gym sporting world, where you're drying out, hardening, and you're losing flow of chi. So my experience is the flow of energy to the body is one of the most dynamic benefits that yoga can offer. And removing toxins is the last benefit of the yoga experience. So there's many ways to detox the bodies, from saunas to red light therapy to herbs and supplements. So yoga can be one way as well. Now there's different types of yoga that do a better job of that. So hot yoga, where the room gets to be over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, is one way. Vinyasa flow is another way, where you're creating internal heat. And as that internal heat is stirring up your system, it's flowing out through your skin. So you're not just sweating out liquid water, you're sweating out all the pollution in your body, all the cigarette smoke you've ingested, and all the toxins from the pharmaceutical drugs and the bad food you're eating. It's flushing out of your body. So yoga can be an amazing detox experience as well, and that could be a really great health benefit. Those are the 14 main benefits I've outlined. In my experience, yoga is one of the greatest gifts given to us in this world for balance, strength, general overall health. And it's not just some whimsical practice that old ladies do when they have time on vacation. It's a lifestyle like brushing your teeth. It should be in all of our daily practice. My wish is that we would start kids younger in school, 4 years old, start doing yoga. In the perfect world, I would eliminate all sports and just do yoga. You wouldn't have all those injuries. You wouldn't have a dilapidated population as we got older from all the back surgeries and hip replacements and knee replacements, because we actually learned how to take care of ourselves early on. It would be a dramatic change in our culture that would move in a completely different direction. So once again, there's so many benefits to enjoy, but you have to practice regularly. And whatever style and format and teacher you choose, it's part of an enhanced livelihood, and it will make your life so much better. So yoga, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be present. And I find this a lot with men, and I had this when I started the first 10 years. We won't do yoga because we're intimidated because the class is filled with women and we don't want to look bad, that we can't macho our way through it. We try too hard. We have mostly pre-existing injuries from the sports we play, which cause all kinds of other pain. We don't know how to slow down and stop and do less. So lots of restrictions. Or I hear a lot of men say, well, I can't do yoga because I'm stiff. Well, where's the logic in that? So that's what I hear a lot. But the rule is get in the game and don't worry about what you can or can't do. Start to enjoy the benefits. And some of those benefits may take years or decades before you're fulfilled in them. But if you're not in the game, you're going to turn into a stone and rock hard raisin. And you will dehydrate and shrink as you age if you don't get in the game. So my experience is one of the greatest gifts in the world. Join me there and be part of the yoga world and part of the leading edge community of people looking for new and exciting ideas. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more, please subscribe to my channel here. You can visit me at my website, johnburris.com, for more leading edge videos and articles to come. I have a wonderful book called Return to Nature, The 5 Pillars of Healing, where I explain a lot about natural healing. You can grab it at amazon.com or my website or barnesandnoble.com. So thank you for watching today.